Hello, in this video we're going to be looking at implementing a main menu state, because in the previous video if we launch our application you will remember we created a splash state which just printed out go to main menu, but we actually wanted to go to a main menu state which will have a background, a title and buttons. So what we want to do is first go to our definitions file and just add some more definitions. So I'm going to copy and paste this because we're going to have a background for the main menu, and we're going to call this main underscore menu background file path, and the actual file is called main menu background, like so. We're going to do hash define main underscore menu underscore title underscore path, and this is just going to be the title of the game. It's going to appear in some nice font on our main menu, and this is resources /res /game title.png. Now we're going to do hash define main underscore menu underscore play underscore button. Now we're going to do resources /res /play button .png, and the final item we need is a hash define for the main underscore menu underscore play underscore button underscore outer, and this is just going to be a sort of some arrows that appear outside of the play button. It just makes the play button look better. So resources /res /play button outer.png. So if we save that now, and now let's go to our main menu state, which we don't have, so we need to create it. So let's just create it in the normal way. So new file, we want a C++ file, and just call it main menu state. Actually that's it, and make sure you add a header file as well. Just do it in whatever way is necessary for Visual Studio, for Sublime, whatever text editor you are using, or IDE. Click next, click create. Now go to the header file, remove all of its contents. I'm just gonna shut this down. We don't need it running at the moment. You want to do hash pragma once hash include sfml /graphics.hpp hash include state.hpp, then hash include game.hpp. Then we're going to do namespace as usual. Just make sure you stick with the same namespace, which for me is Sonar. Then class main menu state. This is going to be a public of state, so it's going to inherit from the state class. And now we need a main. What does this not like? Oh, my bad. Should be a lowercase c for class, and there needs to be a semicolon. We're going to do main menu state, so this is going to be the constructor. So game data ref data. So this is just a data object that contains the asset manager, the input manager, the state machine, the window, and we'll be able to use it within our state. So we're going to do void init. So this will just be the method that initializes our state. Void handle input. You could just copy and paste most of the code from another state like the splash state, but for learning purposes it's great to type it out again and again just to reinforce what you are doing. But the process and the actual structure is very similar, hence why we have a state class, which it is all derived from. So float dt, and now we're going to do private. Let's just get some empty lines so we can move up and down really easily. And this is going to be game data ref underscore data. So this is going to be a pointer to the actual data object. I'm going to do sf sprite underscore background do SF sprite underscore play button. Then do SF sprite underscore play button outer SF sprite underscore title. So save that. Now that we've actually created the header file, we need to now go and implement the CPP file. So to do that, just open up your CPP file, and in there we can get rid of all of these comments. We're going to put hash pragma once. We're going to put hash include SS stream, and now we're going to do hash. Actually, no, we don't need the pragma once in here. It's fine in the header file. So hash include definitions .hpp. Now we're going to do hash include iostream, which we will use to just print out to the console when the user presses the play button, because the play button usually would take you to a game state, which we will create in a separate video. So again, just put some empty lines so we can easily scroll up and down when we've got a lot of code here. Namespace, Sonar. We need to now just implement the constructor, main menu state, game data ref, data, and this is just going to be assigned to the data variable, data like so. And now we need to create the initializing method. So void main menu state init this underscore data assets.load texture. So this is very similar to what we've already done, and we're going to put background. So this is what we're going to be calling our background, and the file name is going to be main menu background file path. I'm going to copy and paste this because we're going to be loading all the assets. So there are 4 assets that we want to load. So we want the background, we want a play button. For that, remember the actual text was play button. We also want play button outer, so just copy and paste this into here and put outer, and that this needs to be play button outer. And finally, we need the game title. So this is going to be called game title in our asset manager, main menu underscore title underscore path, like so. So now what we want to do is do this underscore background dot set texture, and the texture we're setting is this underscore data. We need to actually retrieve the texture now from the asset manager. So dot get texture, and for the name we just specify the name of the background, which was simply background. We need to do the same for play button, same for play button outer, and the title. So this will be underscore play button underscore play button outer, and then underscore title, and the name was play button, name was play button outer, the name was game title. So now that we got these items, we could continue, with the rest of the class and just draw them like so. And that worked for the splash state because we only had one item, and that item was just the same size of the actual window the background was, and it didn't need to be positioned. Whereas these items do need to be positioned. The background doesn't, but the play button and the play button outer and the game title do. So now let's handle the positioning side of things. So we're going to do this underscore play button dot set position, and for the first value we are just going to calculate half of the screen width because we want to put it into the center. So screen width divided by 2. See, this is the benefit of having a defined file. We know the screen width and the height because we can just use these defines, and we can use them wherever we want. And if we update the screen width by a few pixels or a few hundred or even a few thousand pixels, it updates everywhere. So screen width divided by 2 minus this underscore play button dot get global bounds dot width divided by 2. So what we're doing here is, because SFML positions in the top left, we need to move it to the left by half of the width. Otherwise it will be a little to the right if we're centering it in the x-axis, and that will be the same for the y-axis. It just depends on the way it positions stuff. If it positions stuff by like the top left corner of an item or by the middle of it, you might also know of this as the anchor point. Essentially the same principle. So what you want to do now, we can just save some time, copy and paste this code after the comma like so. We're going to change this so it says height. Change this so it says height as well. And the get global bound method is just the size of our play button. We need to factor that in. Now we need to do play button outer, which is going to be very, very similar. So what we're going to do is copy and paste this and just change everywhere we have play button to play button outer. And that is it, because again, we want it centered, and we've designed the play button outer so it fits around it, so it won't just be on top of it, because there's alpha in the middle to allow the play button to be positioned. And now we need to do something very similar for the game title. So what we're going to do is just paste all of this code like so. I'm going to change this to underscore title, copy and paste that. We want it centered in the x-axis, so we're going to do essentially the same, but for the y-axis we want it towards the top. So we don't want to do this anymore. What we want to do is this underscore title dot get global bounds dot height times by 0.1. So we just want to move it down slightly from the top, because otherwise it'll be too flush with the top of the screen and it just doesn't look good when there's no gap. So we just want to move it down slightly, and instead of saying plus 100 for example, if we do time by 0.1, we factor in the size of our game title image, so it makes it dynamic when we start changing different pieces up in our game. So next we want to handle input. So what we're going to do is void main menu state handle input. Ooh, don't want to do state colon colon, needs to be like so. We're going to do sf event, I'm going to call it event. Now we need to do while we poll on this particular event from the window itself. So while the window is polling on this event object that we just created, I'm going to check for some events. The first event is the same as the splash state, sf event closed. So if the user is trying to close the application, then all we would do is this underscore data window dot close. So we close the window, very simple. Now we're going to do another if statement for if this underscore data input dot is sprite clicked. So now we're going to be using the input manager. So if the actual sprite is clicked, so is sprite clicked, first of all we need to pass in which sprite we want to check if it's being clicked, and we're going to do this underscore play button, that's the button that we're going to detect, and the mouse button that we want to check if it's being clicked over this particular button is SF mouse left, and now for the window we just pass in underscore data window like so. Now we do std cout, go to game screen, std end line. Usually we would actually switch to the game state, but as we don't have that created and we'll be creating that in a separate video, we'll just put a cout for now. We're going to do void main menu state update float dt, and we're not going to put anything in here, but you can easily add some code to trigger every time the user is updating something, and every frame if you want to handle something, maybe some animation, you can easily do that. Now we just need to draw all of our items, so void main menu state draw float dt this underscore data my bad, it shouldn't be colon state, hence why IntelliSense wasn't working. First of all, remember we need to clear the screen. So the process is you would get some input, you would update, and then you would clear the screen, and then you do all your drawing. So underscore data window dot draw. First item we're going to draw is the background, because that's what we want at the bottom. So background, or at the in the background essentially. Copy and paste this to save some time. Replace this with play button. The order for the next three items doesn't really matter because they don't overlap each other. They only overlap the background item, but this is the order I've chosen because I think it seemed like a logical order. And now finally we need to display the window, so window underscore data window dot display like so. We can save that. We're not ready to run it yet, and that is because if we go to our splash state.cpp and if we scroll down, it says switch to main menu. We need to implement that code now. So first of all, do hash include main menu state.hpp. Scroll down, get rid of all of this. To switch state, do this underscore data machine. Now we're going to do dot add state, so we're going to add a state to the stack, and we're going to do state ref. I'm going to do new main menu state, so it's a new instance of the main menu state. We need to pass in the data pointer and just put true because we want to override and replace the current state, which is the splash state, because we're not pausing it or anything. And let's see what this is saying. Calling a private constructor of Sonar main menu state. Apparently it's private, so if I go to main menu state, I have not put public here. I need to put public like so. Go to main menu state, splash state again. We're ready to run. We run it. After a few seconds, we'll see our main menu state. There we go. Fantastic. We got our awesome main menu state. So the yellow is just the background, keeping it simple, contrasting with this white game title that says tic-tac-toe, and the play button in the middle, and these two dashes on either side was the play button outer image. And at the moment, if I open up the console, it doesn't say anything. If I click this button, it says go to game screen, which is triggered from checking if the sprite is clicked. At the moment, I can keep clicking it because we haven't handled going to the game screen, which would be the same as what we did right here. We will be in a separate video creating the game state and then implementing the functionality to be able to navigate to the game state. So that is it for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to post them on my education platform, sonarlearning.co.uk. If you want to check out the source code, there will be a link with this video to GitHub. And as usual, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.